Welcome, everyone, to the Completely Unnecessary Podcast.
Good morning.
That sounded like a sonic boom for Tuesday, November 23rd, 2021. That's Ian Ferguson.
That's me.
I got to Lysol that mic. I'm Pat Contry. On the show today, we'll be talking about
Fucking stuff. Bobby Kotick will update you on the Bob. The
Love an
Bobster.
update?
The Bobster.
an Activision Blizzard.
Fucking scumbag. WB fighting game announced? Oh, I guess so. G4 Rockstar putting the trilogy back up. Amica. We got some of that Amica talk for you.
Wii 15th anniversary.
We love the Amica talk. Yeah, so that's what we've got for you. Getting into it. How was your weekend, Patrick?
Well, Ian, it was fine. First off, I watched the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer that you can listen to on the exclusive Patreon podcast, patreon.com/CU podcast. But I had a bad burger week. I like my burgers, Ian. I like my burgers a lot. I'm a burger fiend.
Yep, what happened?
But when I have a bad burger,
Just tell me.
it's not good.
Tell me what happened.
You trying to alpha me on my podcast?
Tell
What's
me what
happening?
happened. I just want to know what happened with your burgers.
So I ordered two different types of burgers. I put
Alpha,
off.
Sigma, Beta, Gamma,
Trying to cuck me.
dog shit.
So I ordered from The Habit. I think it was like Tuesday night after the podcast. My friend, I should admit, so this is a warning sign. I'm not trying to burger shame her, but she loves McDonald's. That should have been a warning sign. She loves a McDonald's burger.
Actually, I think the quarter pounder with cheese is a pretty solid burger ever since they went fresh.
Burger King. McDonald's went fresh?
Yeah, for the quarter pounder.
Just for one of the burgers. They have one burger. They went fresh. Like pink slime on the rest. That's the thing.
quarter pounder is
But
a fresh burger.
but that chemical pink slime taste burger, I want like one a year just to like, it's almost like you have to get that to fulfill yourself. Just, it's a unique taste, that McDonald's burger. You agree?
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
very unique taste, whatever that meat substance is.
it's very specific.
So, but it's not a good burger. Like you'll die if you have more than like two of those in a month. So I ordered, so she recommended The Habit, which is like it's like a little,
it's all right.
above fast food.
Habit's pretty good.
It wasn't good though. I did not enjoy the burger. My stomach didn't reject it. It wasn't like an explosive rejection. The gas has bubbled up my stomach though, where it was like I was bloated for like 3 hours afterward. It was like it was bad, and the fries tasted like nothing. The fries,
I didn't like the fries, but I thought the burger was pretty good from The Habit.
not for the price. Like we're talking, $10 burger. Like Wendy's is like my 7 out of 10 burger that I scale off of basically. At this
The
point.
problem is The Habit's main burger wants to be In and Out, and it's twice the price and
Is that
not
what it
as
is?
good.
See, I wish In-N-Out was on DoorDash because I only had In-N-Out once, and I think it was overly greasy that day. I got to try it again.
I love In and Out. It's not the best burger in the world, but it's a good burger and it's fucking inexpensive.
Just to let you know, Wendy's is a 7 out of 10. That's my 7 out of 10 burger. It's better than average. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's not great, but it's for the price. It's excellent. It's
good burger.
For a $5 burger. It's outstanding for fresh meat. So that was my first attempt that she recommended. I tried again because I originally wanted to do Burger Lounge. I wanted to do Burger Lounge.
Burger Lounge is good too.
It wasn't good. It was a 6 out of 10 on my burger scale. The problem with Burger Lounge, it didn't taste fresh. If you told me it was fresh, I wouldn't believe you. The meat didn't taste fresh. The bun was destroyed on the bottom. It was obliterated. They put Thousand Island on it, and I wanted to taste it how it was supposed to be incorporated. You're supposed to put the lettuce on the bottom to protect the bun. That's the key. You put the lettuce on the bottom to protect that bottom bun. It was obliterated. I got the double. The double with bacon, this is DoorDash prices though, was $18.
Jesus.
Yes, that's more than a Raglan burger,
Yeah.
which is like a 9 on my burger scale, 9.5.
It's my favorite burger, I think. Right?
Like how you said that, it's my favorite burger.
I mean, I'm thinking if there's maybe a better. I mean, it's not. Shake Shack is a real good fast food burger.
Never had that one.
It's my favorite fast food burger, but Raglan's probably my favorite burger.
Your favorite burger?
Burger.
Yeah, it's up there. So the point is, it can't be more than Raglan, because Raglan, it's less money even with DoorDash. I think it's like $17 in DoorDash for a Raglan burger. For like the Hogs and Heifer, which is one of my favorite ones. Then I got the fries. They tasted like bland. There's like no seasoning on them. They were like crispy, but not enough. Then I got the half onion rings. The onion rings were terrible from burger. I mean, terrible. They were not fully encrusting the actual onion part of the ring.
Fully battered.
They weren't fully battered. They were falling out. They were greasy. I did a half and half. I did half onion ring, half fry combo.
Frings.
And by the way, the more and more I look at it, the Five Guys hype is real.
No, it's not. Holy shit.
It's a better burger than these ones.
Five Guys is trash.
It's a better burger than what these two. You got to have our local one. And the fries are the best fast food fries I've had. The peanut oil fries are incredible. And for a small, they basically dump the same amount in as a large. It's true.
That's how they get you. It's the only reason anyone likes that place.
No, it's not the reason. I like the burger there. It's fresh burger. It wasn't fresh at the fucking Habit, I don't think. In Burger Lounge, you'd have to twist my arm. So the point is this. Oh, then I ordered these like... The Burger Lounge has their version of a chicken nugget, but it's not fully breaded. They were like more like grilled. It was $1 a nugget. I said, oh, for $10, these have to be like chicken tenders. They were nugget sized. 10 for $10.
Jeez.
There was not even a... So I know we're in the point where it's all about, gastronomy or whatever, and like stuff like that. You can't charge $18 for like a fast food burger. We just can't do that. That's Joe Biden's America, I guess. That's where we're at. I'm kidding. But you can't. You got to price your burgers and fries to the average Joe. You got to do that. You got to do that.
Delivery apps are getting out of hand. They're collapsing, I think, is also part of the problem. They're starting to charge a lot more than what you would pay at a restaurant.
Well, the restaurants have to charge more to make up for the percentage taken. That's what happens.
Right. I'm just saying it seems... I feel like they're upping their percentages because I've noticed the price is definitely skewing higher lately.
Yeah.
More noticeable.
Because a Raglan burger in person was only like $12-13. It's like $17 on the app. And so it starts to get more out of control when you do that for every single item. So yeah, it wasn't a good burger. I had 3 calorie rate my burgers. Like I should have just went Wendy's. I go Wendy's. I'm never disappointed when I order Wendy's. Never disappointed.
Might be time for that one McDonald's cheeseburger every year.
Now I want to try
recalibrate.
I want to try their one fresh burger on the menu.
Yeah, get the QPC.
Why can't they do fresh meat on a Big Mac? Why can't they do that?
Because it wouldn't taste like what you want it to taste
like. It
wouldn't
taste like that chemical burger. Yeah. The pink slime burger.
Ian,
what did you do this weekend?
Tried a new Thai place. Tried that soy OB. I don't know if you've seen it. It opened on Cable Street, where the Subway used to be next to the laundromat.
Oh, Subway's gone?
Yeah, that Subway is gone. Just fine, because I think fucking Ocean Beach at one point in time had 3 Subways, and it's a 7...
Did it really?
And it's a 7 square mile town. It definitely doesn't... It definitely had 2 for a long time.
Where was the other one?
There's one inside... there's one by the OB Quick Mart on Voltaire down by Abbott.
Okay, wait. Towards the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
By Dog
store.
Beach.
By that liquor store that was in the Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah. So, no, it was really good. I had, I've just been craving Thai food for like days and days. Got one of those green papaya salads. It was really tasty.
Green papaya salad.
Some of the best mock duck I've ever had.
Oh.
I think they make it there, or at least they prepare it very different. It was super tasty.
You know, where else since I had mock duck?
That was good. Also finished watching, it's amazing to me how many like TV shows are brought into existence and continue to exist for multiple seasons that you hear no one talk about.
I told you about the Mindhunter show that never existed. It was outstanding.
So Vonnie and I, this was not exactly outstanding, but Vonnie and I watched The Runaways, which was based on a Marvel property. It was a Marvel comic book about kids fighting their parents. Some of them have superpowers. They run away.
Kind of mutants.
I mean,
they're mutants.
Kind of.
Oh yeah, this was on like an offshoot channel I never heard of.
I don't know what channel it was on.
Like Cloak and Dagger came back as a show, and I'm like, what channel is this on?
Yeah, it was. In fact, there's a crossover Cloak and Dagger and Runaways episode in the last season of The Runaways.
Say what you will about like DC movies, their TV universe.
No,
intact.
This is Marvel stuff.
This is my point.
Oh yeah,
the DC TV stuff all fits together. The Marvel stuff they don't care about at all.
Well, it's funny. Like you have your prestige Marvel, like you had like the fucking Daredevil and that sort of stuff. The Netflix like TV Marvel.
But even that.
But then you have there is a whole level of Marvel TV shows that
they didn't care about.
Well, but they feel like the DC ones to me. Like they're kind of cheesy. They're definitely made for TV. They're
Gotcha.
cheap. And that's what Runaways was. But like, I actually ended up, I watched the first season with Vonnie and we just kind of like fell off of it. And then she started watching the second season and I resisted it. No, the fourth season got canceled. So the last episode of season 3 was a quick, we've got to end it sort of episode, but it was.
Oh, really? Just they just ended it. At least they had an ending, but it was like rushed.
Yeah, it was cute. They addressed some things that obviously they would have addressed had they had more time.
So that was on Hulu. Okay, so that's on Hulu.
Yeah. So we finished it and it was just like, it's one of those shows where like the whole time I'm watching it, it's like I could forget about this show and not feel bad about it, but you keep watching it anyway.
I think it's funny that Disney probably said, because Disney owns Hulu now.
Yeah.
They're probably like, no, this isn't what we liked. After they probably started making that during when Fox was still around. They're like, we're going to consolidate with Disney Plus. We don't want any Marvel thing on there. That's probably what they thought. We don't want, this doesn't fit into our sort of Marvel, Disney Plus stuff.
Well, the thing is, I'm trying to think because
what the hell was Cloak and Dagger on now?
I would guess that got canceled too.
Oh, I guarantee you. But like, what was it on? What
Hulu? I think Vonnie and I watched it on Hulu.
It was 2 seasons.
So it only got 2 seasons.
No, sorry, Ian, it was on Freeform. I couldn't tell you if I even have Freeform. As in that Freeform? What is Freeform?
It was on Hulu too. It had to have been because Vonnie and I watched it. I don't know what the fuck Freeform is, and we certainly did not download an app to watch one episode of Cloak and Dagger.
Freeform is an American multinational basic cable channel owned by ABC, a subsidiary. So like it's a channel. Freeform TV.
All right. Anyways,
that's why I never saw it. And I used to like reading Cloak and Dagger.
Yeah,
I used to like reading it back when it was probably a little too dark and violent for 7-year-old, 8-year-old Pat, but it was different.
The crossover episode was really cheesy.
So they had their own crossover, and it's not even like the MCU. It's like not even the Netflix crossover because it's like the Freeform Hulu cross.
The second half of the third season of Runaways in particular is pretty bad, and that's like right where the crossover episode is. It's just
it's put it out of its misery.
But anyways, it was I ended up watching it all the way through. I ended up getting attached to the characters in some way, shape, or form. So something to be said about that.
So that's what you did, Ian.
Yep, that's what I did. Bobby Kotick continuously shit the bed over the weekend and continued to.
I guess the reports were off about Activision not knowing what Blizzard was doing in terms of the sexual harassment stuff.
Yeah,
everyone was like, oh, it's separated. Apparently not, according to the news in the past week or so.
Well, so initially they tried to say that it was more of a Blizzard thing than an Activision thing, and then they tried to say that the higher ups didn't know anything.
Yes, that was a big key. It's like they didn't really know what was going on.
But the Wall Street Journal reported that that's absolutely not the case, and that
shocked but not surprised.
Bobbert Kotick,
Bobbert, what he's called,
knew pretty much everything about it.
So he was getting informed.
Yeah, he was getting informed. In some instances, it says he was even participated in, abuse and harassment. And people have called for, it started with Polygon. I believe it was the Polygon article. It started with it calling for his resignation, basically just saying he needs to resign. The board backed him up and said that they still have faith in old Bobby. But it's looking like, I don't know. It looks like the will of the people might be speaking here. We have comments from Jim Ryan coming out of Sony, condemning it. You have comments from Microsoft,
Phil Spencer,
and then you have
re-examine our relationship.
Yep, and then Doug Bowser. This is all important to know. However, unless they really actively say they're going to do something, it's just words.
Well, the stock has taken a hit. And money talks. And then if there's even a threat of saying, well, get your act together or we won't feature your game or whatever, money talks. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
So with all this bad word of mouth from the 3 major video game companies, he's going to be gone, I think. Like, there's no way.
Well, like you said, these comments coming out this way and then having them be leaked documents, but having the companies readily confirm them when they're approached with this stuff that they would never do with any other leaked document. Yeah. It like you said before we started recording, it's pretty clear that Bobby's not well loved.
Yeah, they don't want him there.
This isn't a guy who is loved throughout the industry and had a couple missteps. No one's coming to his aid except for people who are financially benefiting from him.
These aren't even neutral. Usually a company will be neutral. It's like, these are unfortunate rumors. We'll see if there's an investigation. These are like, we have to re-examine our relationship. That's pretty that's as strong as a company's going to say that. Get your shit together for like a publicly traded company to say that.
So Bobby had the who is an adult man fucking goes by Bobby. Sorry.
Or Tommy, whatever. So let's just recap some of the stuff that Bobby did according to the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah.
There's from the Verge recap. In 2006, one of his assistants complained that he had harassed her, including by threatening in a voicemail to have her killed. According to people familiar with the matter, it was settled out of court. Another, he was sued by the flight attendant on a private jet he co-owned. The flight attendant claimed the plane's pilot had sexually harassed her, and after she complained to the other owner, Mr. Kotick fired her. Defendants deny the allegations. In a separate action related to legal fees in the case, an arbitrator, citing what he said was sworn testimony, wrote that Mr. Kotick told the flight attendant and her attorneys, "I'm going to destroy you." Sounds like a great guy. No wonder these other companies are probably like, this guy's just a fucking douchebag, probably even on calls to us. We want this guy out, In 2008, they settled by paying the flight attendant $200,000, according to the arbitrator's decision. A spokesperson for Mr. Kotick said he couldn't have fired her in retaliation for complaining because she never complained directly to him. So this guy's just a piece of work, obviously.
Yeah, just a big shitty guy.
And if these are the three things we know about because there was illegal ramifications, then, smoke and fire sort of thing. So, yeah, I think there'll be movement. The stock's already gone down a bit.
I'll be surprised if he lasts out the week.
It's just shocking that the board would come out and say, yeah, we support is not reading the writing on the wall.
Activision has done nothing but prove itself fucking behind the times. It has tried like 2 or 3 times during this to release these statements that are like, we are an industry. And it's like, you can't. This is not fucking 1999. You can't come out with a statement that's going to get published in a video game magazine. Everyone's going to read it and then forget about it. It's the front page news every day.
It's people in their ivory towers. It's the board. The board. These are people with lots of money. People on the board. They don't keep track of what's going on in the ground. They don't care.
Right.
They have too much money, and for them it's like, well, whatever. Let them eat cake, and that's what it is. I can't imagine. I mean, yeah, they're all friends with each other. Obviously, they all. Hobnob. You have to be friendly to I can't believe. The board thing would have been like, this is your chance. This is your chance to throw them off, and people would be like, "Good for you, Activision board." Like, good,
right?
Like, he's gonna be gone. You can't like the stock is. You can't have relationships with the 3 companies be bad. The three. I mean, this is a money thing.
Yeah,
that's what it comes down to. So yeah, it sucks. What you put a timer on this?
We'll see if he's gone by the week.
Gone by Christmas?
Week. Gone by Christmas, I feel like. Yeah.
But he'll have his little golden parachute. He'll leave with like $15-20 million.
He's not going to face any consequences. No one ever does in America.
I'm going to destroy you, flight attendant.
That's already poor.
I'm going to destroy you. Oh my God. Yeah, there's other stuff in this Verge write-up because the Wall Street Journal one could be paywalled. I don't know. Sometimes they paywall some of this stuff. I feel like I should throw them some bucks, Wall Street Journal. They do a good job in some of this stuff.
Well, I was going to say, you know what? The WB's got a Smash Brothers game coming out. Sorry, a little glitch there for a second.
Ian glitched out?
Bing, bang, boom. Yeah, so it was leaked a couple months ago. I think pictures were going around showing yet another Smash Brothers type game. So Nickelodeon mashed all of its characters together.
And you were disappointed.
I mean, it's fun. It's just
like there was no voices.
No voices is real bad.
It's bad for cartoon characters not to have voices.
Yeah, it's awful. Then we started seeing pictures of a WB one, and there was like pictures of Tom and Jerry, Batman, and a couple other ones down below. And now it looks like it's officially announced. There's a Twitter. There's some Twitter stuff going on. Bugs Bunny is missing from Looney Tunes Twitter. Tom and Jerry is missing from Tom and Jerry Twitter. Apparently, they're going to probably show up in some sort of brawling arena.
Oh my God!
Some sort of brawling place.
Oh God!
I mean, here's the thing. I love these types of games, and like some of these people would be fun, but. It within Nicktoons, like it feels like it's already kind of a universe, but this is just mixing the weirdest shit. We're going to have Steven Universe characters, Finn and Jake from Adventure Time because Warner Brothers and Cartoon Network, Batman, Wonder Woman, and even Gandalf
and Superman
because they have DC characters. They have the Lord of the Rings characters. I mean, it's
everything but Harry Potter. Probably because those rights are probably sequestered away. kind of separately because they had the rights to the movies, but they probably don't have the rights to put it in a game. So like that's what Warner Brothers owns. Like those are their big properties.
Yeah.
That's basically it. Harry Potter, DC, I guess Looney Tunes stuff, and Tom and Jerry. Like that's their
Batman. We could get some Blade Runner characters in there. Mortal Kombat.
Okay, but they already have literally a DC versus Mortal Kombat, don't they?
Yeah, but not a Smash Brothers.
Oh.
So you could throw some Mortal Kombat.
And they have the Injustice fighing games. So they already have
Scooby-Doo.
Oh, wow. Okay, they're gonna have Scooby.
They're definitely gonna have some Scooby.
They have some Scoob. Who else they got? Who else does Warner Brothers own? It's
Lego Movie.
Oh.
Happy Feet franchise.
But they don't own Lego though. They do, but they don't own the rights to Lego.
House of Wax, that horror movie.
So here's the point.
Johnny Quest.
The point is if half of your roster already,
I want fucking Johnny Quest.
If half of your roster already pre-exists in their own fighting games, meaning the DC characters,
National Lampoon.
Okay,
you get Chevy Chase and
Griswold. Yeah. So I think we're already 2 games in. We're not even counting Sony failed to do their own. So Sony failed on.
Oh yeah, that did not work out.
Failed. So, and that was the only big try. But there was an independent one I saw that didn't.
There's a couple of independent ones that do all right.
The point is, I think you have to have the right mixture of not just the universe characters have to mesh well, and people there have to be big enough fans of all of them. So the reason that obviously Smash Brothers worked because they are video game characters to begin with. They are video game characters. It makes sense to play video game characters. It doesn't make as much sense to play. I guess playing as Gandalf could be fun. I guess. But it doesn't make sense to have Gandalf fight Bugs Bunny. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
To me would make more sense if they just focused and honed in on the Cartoon Network stuff.
Yeah, that makes kind of sense.
It'd make more sense.
I was going to say there was the Tom and Jerry game. There was one on the N64.
There was also one on the Nintendo.
So like
a couple on the Game Boy Advance.
Is there enough Tom and Jerry characters to keep doing it? Probably not. That's why,
Tom and Jerry verse.
There's like 6 characters. There's the dog. There's the
little
mouse,
dog.
There's the mouse.
The baby mouse.
Running out already. There's not as much characters.
The white cat with the lipstick.
Oh, the female cat.
Is you is or is you ain't my baby.
Oh yeah, that's right. Tom was always lusting after. That's right. So that's not a lot there in the universe. Anyway, so we're not excited about this.
No, no, it's gonna be soulless, just like the.
Will it be a Shaggy and Scooby combo? No, they got to separate them out. There's not enough characters. I'm just shocked that it showed how small the number of characters that had to include 3 superheroes in it. 3 of them. Like they should be sequestered. They have their own games already that they're in, their own fighting games. It doesn't make any sense to do that. It doesn't to me. You're gonna say, well, Pat, you got fighting characters in Smash Brothers, but they're like such a small part of the roster, and the game's been out for 20 years before they put those people in. So it's, it's different.
Analog Pocket shipping in December. It's good news.
What?
Big news.
Why is that big news, Ian? Because people assumed it wouldn't because of all the other delays.
I was ready to just assume.
Yeah, you're casting up aspersions.
Not because of Analog themselves, but simply because something happened with the Evercade Verse, something happened with the Playdate, something happened.
Evercade Verse are ready to come in. They're like stuck on a ship.
Something happened with the Steam Deck. I think a lot of this, so I wasn't thinking that it wouldn't be ready. I was thinking something was going to happen with shipping.
Okay.
Fair enough. Because, there's been lots and lots of shipping problems.
Sure.
So it wasn't that I didn't think it was a finished product. It's that I assumed shipping would carry it over until January. I'm very excited about that. It ships on the 13th. Mm-hmm. I go out of town on the 17th. So if anyone listening at Analog wants to maybe
Oh, you want it early? You want
Ship that out to me so I can do a review.
Look at what they say. We understand that some of you will be away during the holiday season. We prefer delivery in the new year. With this in mind, we were offering to hold your package over the holiday period and start shipping on January 3rd. If you cannot accept delivery between the 14th and December 30th, you should request a hold for your order. You can also request a hold with the U.S. Postal Service. So
yeah,
but the fact is that they're offering themselves to hold it. So that's nice.
I know. It is nice.
Please reply to the email or to contact support. Yeah. This is great news. It's almost like a pleasant surprise to a lot of people because since they didn't do an update, they're like, okay, that's already 3 weeks from now.
Yeah.
That's 3 weeks from today.
Yep.
So that's great.
Very excited about it.
And you're in the first batch. I'm in the second batch. No, that's right. Yeah.
Little bummed that we didn't get
not in the second batch. There is no second batch. I got up 10 minutes too late. I got up on the couch and it was sold out. That's right. I'm in the second batch of Playdate. That's right.
What was I going to say though? Didn't grab the Game Boy, not the Game Boy, the Game Gear adapter. I wish I had. So yeah,
that's the only one available right now. It's a Game Gear one,
right?
Or was available,
right?
So, but yeah,
it's the only one that was put up yet.
Oh boy, do I want to play some Lynx and Turbo games on this.
But I'm definitely ready for this. Would love to be able to take it on my trip to Buffalo. We'll see if I get lucky. That would definitely put it through its paces.
So that's shipping in December. You know what's also shipping December? Stuff at ultimatenintendo.com. Books will be shipping December. RBI baseball stickers are shipping. Enamel pins with our cute faces on them, or just a big pixel pat mushroom head pat. For all your holiday gifting needs. And we have t-shirts. We still have some t-shirts
We
left.
do. Slap us on your chest.
Maybe I'll do a sale for Black Friday on the t-shirts. Wink.
Wink.
At ultimatenintendo.com. I'm going to be on... Well, yeah, be on Twitch on Wednesday, twitch.tv/CountryCode. Then I'm on Cameo, cameo.com/PatCountry. I did a wedding anniversary last week, 10-year wedding anniversary.
Ah,
it's very nice.
Nice.
Thank you for bringing me into your matrimony. Makes me feel special. Makes me feel good. G4 is returning, Ian. Or it's returned. It's returned. It's on.
Take it away, Pat. I never watched G4. I've never seen anything on G4. It was popular at a time where it seemed like G4 got popular at the time where a lot of people had started to kind of stop doing the cable
Mid
thing.
2000s to late 2000s?
Yeah, people started to move away from cable. And
I just thought it was strange that Frank watched G4 more than me.
Yeah,
I'm not saying, half that was probably Olivia Munn. I'm not going to lie. And whoever else was hosting, X-Play. I'm sure there was someone else cute on X-Play. So this is interesting because this is going to be returning to cable networks as well as Twitch. So they know that they're smart. They're hitting. You can't just return to just cable.
No way you could do that.
Especially for gamers, especially as a lot of people, if they cut the cable cords, they might have Sling or like I have YouTube TV. They got to get their name out there though. So this is going to be on real cable networks as well. Verizon Fios, Cox. Xfinity TV, Philo, and Twitch. That's where it's returning to. So they have their lineup of games coming back. Games of shows. They're going to have Attack of the Show coming back. X-Play, of course, those are the two big ones. They're going to have a Dungeons and Dragons show. Maybe you'll check that out. Esports Award show. And so it looks like they're doing going to be they have a launch schedule that's happening. Started last week. So they're back. And our pal Gerard is a part of G4.
Yeah, that's the exciting thing. It's cool to see him get that opportunity.
Yeah. Best of luck.
Best of luck.
Were you shocked about this Nintendo news, Ian? I was kind of surprised. Came out of nowhere. Out of nowhere.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about the Smash Brothers scene. But Nintendo, one of the big complaints against Nintendo from people who play Smash Brothers is that Nintendo has never really shown any interest in competitive Smash.
They haven't cultivated it. They've just sent cease and desist when people were using, modded versions with better netcode and things like that. And that's basically when Nintendo gets in the news for this stuff. It's like, yeah, they've come down on people running a Smash tournament.
Yeah, it's funny. I know that Nintendo and Sakurai and the people who've developed it, it's always been kind of like a party game to them. But hey, if people are taking your game seriously and that's who's buttering your bread, you might want to look into it, into supporting that and nurturing that and helping that grow. So the first officially licensed Smash Brothers tournament is coming in 2022. It's going to be for Super Smash Brothers Ultimate and Super Smash Brothers Melee. I think that's the even more interesting thing, because
Big news.
Nintendo never gives a shit about their legacy stuff.
There's no reason for them with that because they don't make any money on it anymore. So
Right.
That's what the big. That's why it's big.
So, it's just big that it's sponsored in and of itself. But the fact that it's a Melee tournament as well, I bet you if Ultimate wasn't there, they would not have been sponsoring.
No.
They're like, this is sure.
Yeah, they realize no one plays Brawl, but yeah, they got to do their current product. They have to.
Well, people play the current product. They definitely do. Brawl is the Wii one.
But it's not a tournament thing like Melee.
So
Melee's the game du jour.
I don't know. The new one's been pretty popular.
For the tournament, it's always been Melee. Been huge.
I'm just saying. I know it has, but recently people have definitely played lots of the current ones. It's
I know.
Not like they don't play it.
Historically, it's been Melee.
Yes.
For 20 years. Anyway.
So that's.
I love the original. The original's fantastic, but it's it's less characters and whatever. It's not as polished. So people are the announcements were funny because the tweets are funny about this. So anyway, this is run by Panda Global, the first officially licensed circuit for Ultimate and for Melee to North America. Details released soon. So I think this must have been Nintendo America probably twisting Japan's arm. Be like,
I have a
you
feeling.
got to do this.
Yep.
Come on. We're not just we don't look just bad. We're leaving some money on the table, and it's they're doing marketing for us for free, basically.
Clearly leaving money on the table.
Or even if it's not, even if they're just it's like, come on, it's minimal amount of effort for a lot of goodwill. That's all it is. And yes, they're probably going to not allow modded versions of their games to be played, but maybe it encourages Nintendo to come up with better fixes on their own. I'm just saying, maybe in a perfect world, maybe. The first response was partnering with the company that's killing your own community. Yes, excited for Melee to be an objectively worse version than what it should be, and for PM to be treated like Voldemort. Exactly what I wanted. The next response was, if only Nintendo never existed, imagine how big the Melee community would be. Tongue-in-cheek, but true. It's just like, they made the games you love, but yes, they have come down a little harshly here and there. Absolutely. No one's arguing that.
No.
For shutting down tournaments here and there. So I guess we'll see what happens with it. I don't know much about the Smash, the Smash scene, but I'm sure this made waves, right?
That's right. The original Grand Theft Auto trilogy was now put back on Steam.
It's it's on Steam?
I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
Not just consoles?
I thought it was on Steam.
I don't know about Steam. It was put up on there. Oh, now it's all platforms. They updated it. Oh, it was an update to our update. So there was obviously huge backlash. We did a segment on it, or should have been its own segment, about how awful the definitive GTA trilogy release has gone.
Yes.
I mean, broken game, awful graphics, the blinding rain effects, and people were like, "This is horrible. It's unfinished." And this is Rockstar, one of the biggest game companies on the planet, doing this. And on top of that,
to the license that made them who they are.
Yes. I like Manhunt. And I like State of Emergency. But
no one likes State of Emergency.
It was okay, that first game. They do more than one. But the problem was this, is that they took off the original versions of the game, which is not just bad for game preservation. What if I just wanted to play the original ones? I'd have no problem playing the PS2 versions of these games today.
What if you shit the bed and dropped the ball like we expected you all to, and we wanted to play the games like as they were meant to be played? So
they had to come out and address this.
They addressed it. The first paragraph, first sentence is just very special. We all know how I love corporate speak. Hi, everyone. We want to provide an update regarding the unexpected technical issues that came to light as part of the launch of Grand Theft Auto, the trilogy, the definitive edition. Unexpected technical issues? You fucking played it. You made it.
You had no QA.
You shit it out of your butt. It came out of your butt and it was bad. You saw it.
This is a case of, like I said, they didn't care enough about it. They thought people will just like it no matter what. I don't know why. There was no quality control. No quality control at Rockstar. Like, that's like the weird thing to think about when you hear that. Traditionally the games have come out and people are like, okay, this is pretty good. You know, this is complete. You know, it's there. Yeah, there's a day one patch now on Red Dead 2 or whatever, but like, there's not like broken Rockstar games traditionally. Then now you have a broken game that made your company the powerhouse. It's the 3 games that did, but obviously the GTA 3 trilogy did. We want to sincerely apologize to everyone who has encountered issues. The series, all the games that make up this iconic trilogy are as special to us as we know they are to fans from the world. The updated versions of the class games did not launch in a state that meets our own standards of quality. Then why did they launch at all?
Yeah.
Someone's head has to roll.
Many people showed active disdain for consumers in this process.
Someone said this is ready to go out. Someone made that decision. Was it the fact that you needed this out before Christmas to make money? Like, is that why? Like, why was the decision made?
Someone said, don't care, release it, we'll weather the storm and fix it later.
This is literally a year after the CD Projekt Red debacle. Just about a year.
A year after the CEO of Rockstar came out and made a statement on Twitter, or I made a statement somewhere, I saw it on Twitter, about the... about how bad that was, about how you can't do that.
They're going to put out a new update in the coming days for all versions. In the meantime, it says it pains to hear us hearing reports that members of our development team being harassed on social media. Don't harass people about a game. You can complain about a game. Don't harass the people making the game, though. So don't do that. So what they're going to be doing, they're going to try and make it up to you. They're going to do what they should have done. We'll be adding the classic PC versions of the 3 GTA games back to the Rockstar store shortly as a bundle. Rockstar store, not Steam. Additionally, everyone who has purchased GTA the Trilogy through June 30th of next year, will receive the classic versions as well in the Rockstar Games launcher library at no additional cost. That's goodwill to do that. That's good. Sure. Someone like me might want to then purchase them to have them on my PC, and I'll get hopefully upgraded versions that are playable in the future. Like you should have done that originally, to be honest. You should have had them included originally, or as a bundle price, an add-on. $5, we add on the originals, whatever, to like the new, whatever. You should have done that. And then also the other update is definitive version is now live across all platforms, including Switch. So,
an update.
That was the update. I didn't say anything about this coming to Steam, though. Putting them back on Steam. I think they have their own launcher, I guess. Yeah, I searched for the GTA games a few days ago. I didn't see them on Steam. I mean, these games aren't. The 4 and 5 are. The GTA trilogy, these games are not on Steam. So they're separate from Steam. They don't like that 30% Steam. You got to do better. You got to come down 15%, 20%, 12%. Like Epic Game Stores, you got to do better. It's Capital Edition. So the point is this. Again, this should never have gotten to this point, especially with games that are as beloved and as famous as these games.
You can get the first Grand Theft Auto on Steam, though.
Oh yeah, you can get everything but 3. You can get 1, 2, 4, and 5. They skipped over 3.
3, Vice City, and San Andreas.
I call them 3. The 3 trilogy. I call them whatever. The same engine. That was a great time for Rockstar, wasn't it? And they were still doing Midnight Club games.
Oh, like I said, I've seriously never fucking played a minute of that
series. You've never played?
I've never played a minute of it.
What? All right. We're moving on to the main podcast, Ian?
Yeah, we're on our way.
Ian, it was a banner day for Intellivision. They did the first of what's going to
be... Getting it out of my system.
The first of many deep dive gameplay videos came out and was quickly unlisted within 2 hours and then privated and then re-uploaded a second time.
Then deleted again,
and re-uploaded for a third time. We'll get into that, though. We'll get into what the hell happened there. So, Battle Tanks was uploaded.
Tank Battle?
Battle Tanks, originally. Battle Tanks was uploaded. This was a game. This is an overhead combat style game. I think it's based upon, there was a triple action pack of Intellivision games that originally had biplanes in a third game. They're splitting out biplanes and battle tanks.
Has anyone ever pointed out that this is like a less consumer friendly Intellivision? We're taking the triple pack games and splitting them out into separate games.
and yes, that is not good for the consumer, but this is an overhead tank game.
Yeah.
Single screen. You shoot tanks, you shoot each other, and you blow up each other like combat. There's obstacles. There are.
I want to see biplanes because it's just going to be this game. But
the biplanes is already. You can. It's yeah. They fly around. You shoot each other on a single screen or whatever it is. Yeah, that's fine.
I'm just saying it's a lot of the same type of gameplay repeating itself already.
So you can watch it again, but originally it was taken down. So this one, let's talk about the game itself first. It is a standard, average-looking game that looks like it was made in the year 2000. I mean, I'm not being facetious. The colors are sort of muted and bland. It has a realistic tank look. There's helicopters that fly in. There's power-ups. There's different game modes. There's leaderboards that don't work probably at this point in time.
Looks like a Newgrounds game.
From what someone told me, from what one source told me, it may not have been worked on since 2019, potentially. That's my source saying that. So, looks like a Newgrounds game.
Yeah, it just looks like a fucking Flash game you can play online.
It looks probably worse than what some mobile tank games probably look like.
It looks worse than the mobile tank games.
Because the problem with this game is that the art style is, there's no art style. It's just like, we'll just get some assets that are out there for tanks and for dirt, and there's a lava stage and ice, and we'll just throw these assets in here.
We'll Photoshop a fucking red or blue hue over the top of it.
And like, there's no graphic style to this game. And that to me is always the kill, like sort of like the strike against a lot of these Intellivision games, is that there's no distinct graphic style.
No cohesion whatsoever.
No cohesion against, but there's no graphic style. It doesn't look like, if you're going to do an Intellivision tank game, this is how I would do it. One of two ways. You do it and you lean into the pixel art, like how the original games were,
but no pixel art.
How Other Ocean was supposedly remaking Night Stalker and doing the Cloudy Mountain. You lean into that look. It looks distinct. It looks
yes.
It looks like there's an art style.
That was
to
the
it.
closest. That was the closest thing we've come. Both Cloudy Mountain and Night Stalker look like they belong in the same universe. Like,
yes.
It makes sense.
Yes.
That should have been leaned into for that aesthetic should have been leaned into for everything.
So that's the first thing that you do if you're doing. That's the first approach. The second approach is what I think they should have done, because it's supposed to be family friendly for kids. You make them toy tanks. You make it like it's a toy setup.
Yeah.
Right? You make it maybe it's over the top, like here's like plastic pieces. You can tell it's like a kid setting it up.
Yeah.
It has a distinct look and style to it. It's family friendly, more family friendly and non-violent than realistic tanks and helicopters
the tanks
blowing up.
Fucking chubby and wobbly. Make them shoot like pop gun stuff out of the top.
That's what the Wii Play tank game did. It looked more toyish. They were like you said, like pop gun style.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you should have ripped off the Wii Play tank game, but there was a style to that though. There was a distinct style there. I think it was like more like wooden and plastic, if I remember from my memory to watch it. So this video starts off with Tommy next to John Alvarado. Poor John has to deal with Tommy. John, when the checks stop cashing, you can talk to me. It doesn't have to be public. I'll be the ear to listen to. I'm sure it's horrible working with Tommy. Anyway, so they show like leaderboards that will be in existence eventually that talk about your favorite weapon. There's going to be things to unlock here, like accomplishments. There is a whole 18 maps. 18 maps is your single player campaign. 18 maps. This is another one of these games that's probably a 20-minute game, maybe a half hour at most if you're not good.
Remember, it's already been stated by Tommy that there are 10 whole levels in skiing.
There's going to be deathmatch, capture the flag. Again, these are single screen games, just to let you know that. Enemies that spawn you have to deal with. And like I said, it looks like if this was a game part of like a 6 or 10 game package, I wouldn't be as critical as this. This is a game that you're going to have to spend money on. Probably like $10, I'm guessing. They're going to charge you for something like this.
It looks incredibly unexciting. Looks completely devoid of strategy.
The frame rate's off.
The frame rate doesn't stay stable.
It's not 60 frames.
Oh no, it's 20 to 30.
It's not close to 60.
Yeah. It's just a very unstable frame rate. And the game looks awful. It certainly doesn't look like it should be a standalone game.
It shouldn't be a standalone game. The same way like when they showed off, I think, Pool at one of these recent events. Pool should not be a standalone game. Again, something that's a part of like We Play or Clubhouse games. It's part of your like 1 in 40 package because it's a simple tech demo thing.
Well, and that's what other people have said. They've said that this looks very much like a tech demo. This looks like, these are games that you'd basically submit as like a final project in college.
Yeah.
Or at the end of a programming class.
These are a one-person project. They put this together in like, I'd be shocked if this was more than a month of work.
So the game itself does not look great. I don't think anyone was really expecting it to. I think we all knew what it was going to look like. It looks just like this. It looks unexciting. However, there's far more to it than just the game we have.
Before we get into that, real quick, to make sure that this is not a simple sort of setup, 3 different control schemes. They're allowing 3 different control schemes on your system that's supposed to be pick up and play friendly.
Yeah, including one that looked really awful where you
have to point to shoot on the
aim
pad.
with the touch screen and it does not look good.
No, sorry.
The majority of the assets are stolen in the game.
For the menu items, yes.
For the menu items.
Yes.
The menu screen is stolen from Gaijin Games. I can't remember. Sorry. Gaijin Games is the developer.
World of Tanks?
World of Tanks is a different one.
War Thunder.
War Thunder. War Thunder.
So the intro screen is stolen from a game called War Thunder.
They dimmed it and they copy and pasted an explosion. They literally flipped the same explosion in the opposite direction if you look at them.
They changed the tank a little bit around, but it's the same layout. It's the exact same layout. It's plagiarized.
They also took stuff from World of Tanks, which is that big free-to-play. It's a huge online tank game. They even stole. These are
like the tanks you select when you go through the selection screens.
This is one of the things where, like, early on, people realized that there was no way they had actually paid to use these assets because the World of Tanks stuff was actually a special movie tie-in
with Fury.
Fury.
The World War II Brad Pitt movie from like 2014.
Yeah. They actually took it and they where it says Fury on the barrel of the gun, I think they like stamped it out. Yeah, they stamped it out poorly. And then they also used a bunch of non-commercial images, stock images.
Yes. They used it looked like there was a 3D image asset site they went to where it says not for commercial use.
Yeah.
Directly on it. And they took images from Google search for museum images, like real tanks that exist, and used that for their tank selector screen where every tank has different like speed and like power assets.
I'm sure everything will be balanced very, very, very well.
Yeah, they weren't. I looked at the balance real quick, but they weren't.
So they took these, they passed them through Photoshop, they darkened the color on them and gave them all like a red hue or a blue hue. And
this was discovered. This was posted on the television_Amico Reddit within a couple, I think within an hour or two. I was asleep at the time. I was taking a nap, so it was the video was immediately unlisted.
Yeah, immediately unlisted. They put it back up, took it down, put it back up again.
So the third time they put it up, and it's still up, they changed the name from Battle Tanks
to Tank Battle.
To Tank Battle, and basically did a Photoshop job on the thumbnail. Because you can't make this up. If you search for this on Google and you look at the image and like the image that shows up, or if you're searching it for on your sidebar on YouTube, they didn't even take the time, meaning Tommy probably didn't take the time to take the original video image and then Photoshop that. He took a screenshot of it on YouTube because you can see in the bottom right corner of the thumbnail, you see like, oh, there's a little widget for the settings to watch your video. Yeah. There's the full screen image on the bottom right. This is hack shit that a real company shouldn't be getting away with, let alone re-uploading the same video 3 times, let alone changing the name of your game and then saying, well, final name to be determined within the course of 24, 48 hours.
And then maybe we'll have the fans vote on it. Everything could be, that's what he said. Yeah, everything can be solved with a poll.
So you have a game that had stolen assets, and you had some of the apologists try to say, oh, I was told that those were paid for. No.
That completely fucks it up because Tommy came out the next day and said, as I think most of us knew he was going to.
Did he come out really when it's on Atari Age?
Oh, sure.
But he did.
And said, it's all placeholder graphics. It's all placeholder graphics.
I want to find the quote and read his exact quote. It's ridiculous.
It is. Everything is. If you read, I think if you read the description for the current video that's uploaded, it pretty much says what he said on Atari Age.
Yeah. So going back to it was they stole a World of Tanks, Churchill, Turbo Squid 3D model, a couple of museum images, at least. And then let's where's the Atari Age thing? I need to read the fucking quote. Here's the point though. This was public. He got blasted by Sam Mekovich. We'll talk about what Frank Cifaldi said, our pal. There was no public apology or public, hey, we screwed up, or hey, our dev did something. The bottom line is this is an Intellivision published game that's coming out. They're the one publishing, their name's on it. Yeah. They should know better. It's Intellivision Battle Tanks / Tank Battle. It's their game.
Right.
It's their game.
It's their game. They're the ones who are publishing it. It's their main game, and I don't buy for a second the placeholder graphics excuse. This was presented and passed off initially as a complete game.
This is embarrassing.
You can't say placeholder graphics and then continue
on a deep dive video.
Not
say, oh, these are placeholder. You wouldn't do that professionally anyway. You wouldn't steal assets even for
placeholder graphics
and then show them.
You wouldn't
publicly.
show them because you're advertising the game. If anyone was wowed by that, and I don't believe anyone truly was, but if anyone was wowed by it, they were wowed by what you showed them, which was stolen graphics that you're calling placeholder graphics. Yet it's way too cohesive to look like that's even believable. So obviously this was meant to be the passed off final version of the game. But you can't say placeholder graphics and then immediately, you can't say placeholder graphics and then continue the lie that it's parts that are keeping the Amico from being in your hands. These games are not fucking done.
And they should have been done October 2020.
If this was going,
this is a launch title.
If they were on the launch pad, if everything was ready to go and it was just the chip shortage, this game should have been finished a year ago.
They showed this video in the August 2019 gameplay video. They showed this,
and it had the exact same graphics, which means this probably has not been worked on since 2019.
Well, someone just put in placeholder graphics, though, and just said this is good enough, just stealing assets willy-nilly. This is what Tommy said on the forum. Again, not a public post. This should have been a public Intellivision, Twitter, and Facebook mea culpa. But they're too proud to admit when they fuck up. They got to spin it. In case anyone may have missed the description of the Amico deep dive video, it reads, this wasn't originally on the original upload. Work in progress. Footage shown does not represent final materials, graphics, and features subject to change. Intellivision continues to provide unprecedented access to the development process of both our hardware and games.
This is just straight up fucking propaganda now.
This is lies.
Just repeat a lie enough and people are going to believe it.
But some people have.
Yes.
With this core belief of openness comes certain challenges. Our game development partners commonly use placeholder graphics as they work towards finalizing all art assets prior to final publishing. Placeholder graphics were identified in the current unpublished version of the Intellivision tank game presented in this video. If this was all fine, Tommy, why did you unlist the video so quickly and then privatize it? If this was normal, if this is how Intellivision functions normally in their game development business, why would you do that? It's lies. Every week, it's lies. This is why we cover this. Some people say, why are you still covering this? Because we have to keep pointing this out because some unfortunate souls will believe this shit and get taken for a ride. The investors already got taken for a huge ride.
Yeah, they did. Holy shit. They're not seeing any money back.
Intellivision is in contact with all parties involving both final assets and placeholder assets as we work with our development partner towards final publishing of this game. Boy, I hope those two game companies come after you. Yeah. I hope World of Tanks sees this and be like, what the fuck are you doing?
I don't think it's going to be worth their time. But
no, they're making so much, but like they at least they'll have their eyes on you now. They will. That's insane. We are also doing a shorter cut, which we sent out to the mailing list on Monday with some other very cool news. That didn't go out on this past Monday. Nothing went out.
We'd see it.
Nothing went out here. So the tide has turned from what I've seen and heard. Atari Age folks are pretty fed up. Like there's been more and more, less and less out and out cultists and shills. And
you've got like the 5 loyals.
You have the loyalists, but you have more people probably saying enough is enough. Like this was even though this should have been the last straw should have been a year and a half ago when they were publicly attacking people or demonizing people like me and Ian and Kevtris.
It should have been the moment Tommy took the fucking stage and was allowed to ramble for an hour about his fucking wet dream.
No, it's bad. It's not good. So here's some of the responses. Sam Red, who did remember he was threatened legally earlier.
Legal incoming.
Legal incoming. Looks like Amico was busted today after lifting all this stuff. And then you had someone trying to say all of this stuff was paid for. I've heard it's like, no, that's not true. Why are you believing people? You are not smart and you are a fool. Just saying that. Can't be nice about it. And then Frank Cifaldi had his commentary about the situation. Frank is probably the other most outspoken critic of this besides us, that at least I've seen. He said, this after Sam Mekovich did the tweet, he said, between these stolen assets, the Star Fox placeholder text on Moon Patrol, and the fact that most game footage hasn't changed since E3 2019, I'm going to go ahead and say that Intellivision Amico doesn't have any games ready for a system that was supposedly ready to ship a year ago. This is him continuing, I have never seen a vaporware console scam this blatant in my entire career, and I covered the Phantom and the Gizmondo. Did the Gizmondo come out? Did the Gizmondo came out?
No.
Didn't the Phantom definitely didn't come out?
No, definitely not.
Then he went into, did you know about Amico's physical games? Frank. They're not games, they're physical products. They're empty boxes with RFIDs inside that theoretically will one day download a video game that may or may not exist from a company that has only shown janky prototypes so far. You can get all 8 for only $150 right now. Then his last one, he's got a twisted knife into my back a little bit. I think the fake physical games things is kind of brilliant. Selling people empty boxes for games that don't exist. It feels like the inevitable endpoint for people who collect video games they never intend to play. It's a vision of the future, in my opinion.
So apparently that video is back, and every stolen asset has been removed from the video.
They did this is a third or fourth upload.
Fourth, yeah.
There's a fourth. No, come on, there's not a fourth one.
It says it's back, and every stolen asset has been removed from the video. It's on that Reddit. So it's a 16-minute cut of the video, and it looks like
they cut out the intro screen. They cut out the
intro screen
selection.
Is still there, but looks like they cut out all the tank selection stuff, and the intro screen isn't shown like full on. It's just kind of in the background a little bit. So why would you, if it's just placeholder graphics, why would you frantically remove it? Yeah.
They're lying.
Because you're just fucking lying every chance you get.
I'm just tired. I'm tired of people not calling out the lie. I mean, people call it out, but like, it's insane at this point. It's insane. I'm glad people on Atari Age are finally starting to say, this is ridiculous. You've made us look like fools, even allowing this content on our forum. The fact of the matter, though, is that this is obviously, and changing the name is Mickey Mouse. Like, how do you change the name on a game? That's your first. How can you not have the name finalized on your? Like, how? But now
4 uploads for a fucking overhead tank.
But now
game.
We have to now analyze and scrutinize every gameplay video going forward
because we weren't going to.
But Tommy said it himself, Ian. I'm being tongue in cheek that this is common to use placeholder graphics in game development, at least that Intellivision does. So now we got this might be in future games that they show. It might be in biplanes. It might be in the pool game. Maybe they'll use side pocket graphics on the character selection screen, or I don't know. We shouldn't have to do this. We shouldn't. It's incredible. Is there anything else to add? Did we run out of steam on this?
Yeah, I think we did. I mean, we got a lot in there.
By the way, you can get these tank games, some of like are free. There's a Battle Tanks Legend of World War II for free. You can get that. World of Tanks.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure World of Tanks is free to play, even though most people spend some money on it.
There's a game on Switch called Tank Battle Heroes, which I think is like $5, that has personality and looks better than this. So you can play your family-friendly tank games for cheaper. They look better. They're not using, quote, placeholder graphics. They're out there, people. You can play them. Ian?
Yeah.
50th anniversary of a Nintendo console, the Wii.
5s and 0s.
November 19th, 2006.
5s and 0s.
The Nintendo Wii launched in North America before Japan, interesting enough.
Yeah. So the Wii, I think, the Wii is definitely one of those consoles that I don't even know if it splits people. But I feel like it was obviously extremely popular. Sold, 111 million units?
101.63.
101.63.
Which is the most for a console. The Switch is going to break it, but that's the most for a Nintendo console.
For a Nintendo console.
Yeah. Not handheld.
And when it came out, it was a shift in Nintendo's marketing, and kind of a shift in it represented their desire to become a family-friendly brand, or to kind of cash in a little bit more
to lean into
more of what they were already known for, as being kind of the friendlier version of, say, Sony. And with it came motion controls, which at the time were a huge innovation. We hadn't really seen anything like that with that sort of level of accuracy. It's funny now to say that the Wii Remote was accurate, but at the time it was highly accurate. And I mean, it still is impressive for what you got. And it became an absolute fad. I was thinking about that. Like it really was a fad.
It was a cultural fad / leaning into like phenomenon, like I'd say more of a fad, but yeah, it was a cultural touchstone.
Became a huge thing. Everyone knows how to waggle a controller. Most people know how to play Wii Bowling.
Wii Bowling, 100 million people have played Wii Bowling, at least. More people than had bought the console played Wii Bowling.
Right. And it was there was a shortage of these systems for almost I would say a full year after it came out.
At least it was like a year.
I was lucky enough to get one in February, the February after it came out. I kind of bided my time and was looking around. Finally found someone who wanted $25 over retail for it, but no tax, so it ended up being the same price.
It's retail for what, 300?
$250.
$250, that's right.
$250. So I got it for $275, and
just the console, just everything in the box.
Everything in the box.
Okay,
yeah.
I bought a bundle. I bought a bundle on eBay about, I want to say it was March of 2007. That you literally couldn't find any of them at stores. You couldn't. This is like one of the first big like scalp consoles.
Yeah.
Back then it was on Craigslist. You're scalping. This is before social media. This is before bots and everything. People were just clicking and getting it. I'm sure that some bots existed, but most people didn't know about them. So I got a bundle on eBay. I think it was like $325, but I got like 2 Wiimotes, 2 nunchucks, because a Wiimote nunchuck set itself was like $70, I think, something like that. It was like 40 and plus like 25, whatever, something like that.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
So I got that, and then I got like 5 games with it. I got I think I got what was the big one, the Katana one, Red Steel. I got Red Steel, and I got like 3 or 4 other games. I think I got whatever the first Mario Party was that already come.
9, 8.
I think I had that. So it was like $400+ worth of stuff for like $325. So I said, okay, I got a decent deal. And that's how I got mine. Otherwise, I wasn't getting one.
Yeah,
I wasn't.
This was like right before I really got back into video gaming. This was when I was living with my ex and our roommate, and I wasn't playing a lot of games. It was a smaller apartment. I didn't want to be hogging the TV all day. Man, our first TV there was still a tube TV. But I really enjoyed the Wii in that environment. We all played Wii Bowling. People, my ex and my roommate at the time, they were not video game people, but they got into the Wii. They really enjoyed playing like the Wii Bowling and all that sort of stuff. They thought it was interesting. They thought the Virtual Console was neat, which it was at the time. The Virtual Console really was a boost to, I think, retro gaming and awareness, because it was the first time that these games were available on an eShop. It was the first time emulation was kind of used in a commercial sense. Nintendo finally taking advantage of emulation and using it in a way to make them money.
They were monetizing their back catalog more,
right? And
versus just doing like a GBA re-release.
And lots of companies did too. That was one of the cool things about the Wii. The Virtual Console has never been as good as it was on the Wii. Between Genesis titles, Turbo titles.
I was shocked there was Turbo games.
Super Nintendo titles, N64 titles.
Was there Neo Geo? I forget.
Neo Geo titles. Yeah, there were some Neo Geo titles. Yeah, those are the big ones.
There was Game Boy ones?
That I don't know if it was Game Boy ones. So, yeah, that was neat. I played a lot of the social games. I played like the Mario Party, a lot. when I moved out of that apartment after my ex and I broke up and I moved into my own apartment, that's where I really kind of realized, I think, the limits of the Wii and why people were down on it. It just wasn't particularly great for single player games. And I got a lot less use out of it once I was out of it. And once I was just living with a roommate that I didn't know, we were just roommates and I wasn't living with friends anymore. My Wii got so much less use.
Here's the list of games. There were 427 games total. That's a chunky amount. 94 NES games. It's a good amount of games.
Yeah.
74 Super Nintendo games. 21 N64, most of them first party, but you did have like Pokemon Snap, which is second party, kind of.
No, that's first party.
Well, HAL Labs, but Nintendo's on there. You had a couple of Hudson Soft games, but mostly first party stuff. 63 Turbo/Turbo CD games. That's a good amount of games.
That was, I think, the bright point of the that system for a lot of people. I know people who shopped at Luna who their first experience with a Turbo game ever was playing one on the Wii Virtual Console.
That's almost half of the North American library available. That's a good amount.
Yeah, because the North American library is what, 130?
130 something with CD.
Yeah.
16 Master System, mostly Sega first part. They're all Sega, except for, well, they're all Sega published. Okay. You had 75 Genesis games, most Sega, but you did get some Namco ones in there, like Rolling Thunder 2. 54 Neo Geo games. Wow. Okay. 9 Commodore 64 games. I had no idea there were Commodore 64 games on there.
I didn't know that either.
And then 21 arcade games, mostly they're Namco, Capcom, Sega, and Tecmo. So that's an incredible number of games. And like we said, Nintendo before they would do re-releases, mostly obviously they would publish there was other packages like on the GameCube, and there were even on N64 arcade collections and game collections that were published. But for them to have a virtual service where you can buy individual games that they were monetizing and allowing other companies to monetize.
Yeah.
This was the first Nintendo having their own online presence, web store, and
maybe the first real. Well, no, there was the Sonic collection on the GameCube and stuff, but I was going to say definitely a lot of handshaking though with other companies that you wouldn't exactly think that they.
Yeah, they're sharing the profits of these. I mean, obviously you're sharing profits, I guess, in a small way if they publish more stuff. I don't know how that would work, like with GameCube, if they're printing the discs out or whatever, paying a license. But this is we're promoting your individual games.
Yeah.
Individual old ass games that used to be competitor for us, Sega Genesis games. So I always marked that the rise of retro gaming, this was a huge part of it. It was this and YouTube. Those two combinations were a big push for people to rediscover a lot of this stuff. From at that point, 15 years earlier, we'll just say. It was a big thing to do that. For a lot of people, this has been the first time they ever heard of TurboGrafx 16. What the hell is this?
That's what I just said. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people who shopped at the store, their literal first experience playing a Turbo game was on a Wii.
And they're seeing dozens of titles.
Yeah.
It blows their mind. Again, this is YouTube's not huge yet in 2006. It takes another year or two.
So this is a lot of exposure to stuff that people hadn't really seen before. It doesn't seem as big now when you look back on it, because everything's had some sort of, virtual console or emulation,
Sure. An Xbox Arcade had been
section in Xbox, but this was huge.
But for Nintendo console fans and handheld fans, it's big, which I'll get into in a second. This is a big deal. This is 100 million people potentially seeing these games, at least, plus other people.
Yeah.
So this is also what I'm going to say about this console, why this console is so successful. To a lot of people, this could have been the first Nintendo console they played in 15, 20 years. The same way it's now become with the Switch. There's people that were, we'll just say, lapsed gamers that grew up with either the NES or the Super, that were teenagers or 10 years old. It followed their life progression. You're 10 years old, you're playing NES Super. Now I'm in my 20s. I got a job. I have my own place. Wow, there's this new console Nintendo has out. I'm going to buy this again. I saw that phenomenon happen. When I first moved to San Diego, this was 2009, a few years in, but you go to house parties. When I'm 28 and they're about 28, people were playing Wii at house parties.
Absolutely.
You're drinking wine, you're drinking, you're having fun, and you're playing, Wii sports games. It was, like Asim said, it was a fad. It was a semi-cultural touchstone event.
So obviously I hung out with the owner of Luna Video Games, Treg, a lot. I mean, he's a good friend of mine. But we two people, an owner and a manager of a video game store, and the only video game system that I have ever seen come out during a party with him was the Wii when it happened, because it just had that sort of appeal.
Pick up and play
to everyone. So not all of our friends are into games and stuff, but there's conceivably nothing else we could have rolled out that anyone would have played.
Yeah, pitch me the ball. We'll do boxing real quick. We'll have fun
Right.
boxing. We'll do, again, the bowling thing, because you only need a Wiimote to do that. It was also a turning point because Nintendo was no longer trying to compete with being like a powerhouse console. N64 they tried and failed. GameCube they tried and failed as well, because GameCube was not underpowered. GameCube was not underpowered.
No, I mean, you look at comparisons of, I talk about it all the time, but I mean, if you actually look at side-by-side comparisons of games that are GameCube, PS2, and Xbox, there's a lot of games where like GameCube is that version was the best looking.
So they abandoned the proprietary software bullshit killed them on the N64, and it killed them on the GameCube partially. They had better.
You mean just like doing weird fucking?
Yeah, we're gonna do our mini disc thing. We're gonna we'll stick with cartridges when no one else is doing cartridges anymore. Like that killed them on the N64. They lost third-party support that never came back from the N64. GameCube, they had better third-party support, but they still had their own. The discs held a lot less when it was before than the Xbox and PS2 held. So they finally said we can't do this anymore. As well, they didn't get back the third-party support that they should have, obviously, but then they went weaker, and that was the thing. I remember people were promising like, Capcom and EA was a big one, saying, oh, we're going to support the Wii this, and we're going to support all the other consoles. Nope. We'll put out our shitty Call of Duty version that's nothing close to to like the PS2 and PS3, and Xbox and 360. We'll do that. So, but obviously Nintendo didn't care. Because when you sell 100 million consoles of something that they're making money on every console, they weren't taking a loss on the Wii. That's because they weren't.
Right.
So like that gave them their what's the expression? Their not war shed. What's the expression?
War chest.
War chest.
Yes.
War chest. For decades to come. It allowed them to survive the awful lean Wii U years, Remember, though, they always still had their handhelds were always good. Their handhelds were always good to go at the time.
Yeah, well, their handhelds have always been the thing that has kind of afforded them the ability to fuck up on consoles as often as they have.
3DS kept them going. Not afloat. They had enough money to survive because of the Wii, but 100 million consoles.
The DS, the 3DS, none of those hurt Nintendo.
No, absolutely not. The 3DS had a rough year or so to start, but then once they lowered the price and got more games, they were fine. It just launched too early, the 3DS.
Yep.
They had to get it out there, I guess, because Wii sales were not doing as well anymore, like 5 or so years in. I also love the fact about the Wii, it seemed like it was also the last time, and they only did it on a couple of consoles, really. But it was around the mid 2000s when you had like the GBA adapter on the GameCube. You had things like that happening. They still had backwards compatibility on their handhelds. Through GBA and through the first, first DS had GBA, then 3DS got rid of GBA. We still had DS backwards compatibility. The GameCube backwards compatibility was huge. I loved it.
Yeah.
It allowed me, because I didn't own a GameCube. I'd never had one brand new. So I bought a couple of GameCube games, or go to the swap meet and get Crazy Taxi. And the fact that it had the built-in controller ports, I thought that was fantastic. Nintendo did that. It was like a sort of goodwill, I think, towards, say, if you bought a GameCube a year or two before, and they're obviously not really going to be making games for it anymore. It was really a bridge. It was like, okay, it was a 2-in-1 console.
Yeah,
it's a 2-in-1 console. You got everything you can want out of the GameCube on the Wii, and you got you got 480p with the component. You got 480p.
Oh yeah.
So you can play your GameCube in progressive, not HD, but progressive. It looks better than interlaced. No, and then of course they got rid of that with the later revisions. But at that point, everyone had a Wii. So.
Yeah, the nice thing about the Wii is that most of the versions are backwards compatible. You're far more likely to stumble upon a backwards compatible Wii than not.
You want to talk about some of the first party or memorable games that started on the Wii?
I mean, honestly, that's kind of the thing for the Wii for me is I don't have a whole lot of like retro love for it.
For the actual, not for Galaxy. I played a decent amount of Galaxy.
I do like Galaxy a lot. I like Galaxy a lot. Zack and Wiki. I was not a first party game. That was a Capcom game. One of my favorites on the system. One of the only games that I actually liked using the motion controls for. It played kind of like a point and click adventure game. Excite Trucks, I really liked when that came out. That was a lot of fun. That was a Nintendo game that they've like never referenced ever again, but I really enjoyed Excite Trucks. But I learned quick that I hated using that controller setup for any sort of normal game.
Really?
I did not like the
being forced to use an analog on the left.
the nunchuck.
It worked great on Resident Evil 4.
It worked. I just didn't.
You just didn't like it.
I just didn't like it.
I got used to it. I think they incorporated it well for what they did. You want to guess at how many Wii games there were? This is not counting the virtual library. I'm looking at the list right now.
1,123.
1596.
All right.
That's about where I probably thought it was. There was a lot of shovelware on the Wii though too. A lot. It was literally going to the flea market in like the late 2000s, and there'd be brand new shovelware Wii games in boxes that they probably sold that shit at like 5 and dimes and like at Rite Aid. You know what I mean? Like there was that level of shovelware on the Wii that I don't know if we're going to see that again with the Nintendo console, where like they're like brand new for like $5 in the box or $10.
Well, you are getting it on the Switch, but they're not getting fit. We're beyond, digital media has overtaken.
Yeah, so you're not getting mass produced ones. So that's what I mean.
Right. If you go on the Nintendo eShop, it is a huge problem right now. There's tons of asset flip garbage.
I mean physical games though.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're not gonna. Yeah,
this 1596 is physical. I believe most of these are physical.
Yeah, you're not gonna get. You're not going to get that sort of like physical good production ever again, especially not for those little shitty titles. I think it was our pal Scott who had little Scotty had a full Wii set.
Did he? Remember? I remember we talked about the first.
I think he sold it.
Remember we talked about the first collector that completed that on the like Nintendo Ways like 5 years ago or so.
Yeah,
or 4 years ago. Are they still making? When did they stop with Wii Dance or Just Dance? When was the last Just Dance? I don't look that
last year.
It was last year. They finally said.
I think 2021 or 2020 was the last year that was on the Wii.
So was that the last Wii game? Was it November 5th, 2019? Wow, that's a 13-year run.
Yeah,
that's almost like PS2.
Yeah, that's insane.
I mean, at that point, they were only doing like Just Dance, maybe like one other game a year, like a singing game or whatever, right?
It would have just been Just Dance at that point. Just like I think the last 2 years of Sony. Like, I think the last 2 years of official PlayStation 2 support was just FIFA coming out twice.
Oh, yeah, we got to count the Retro City Rampage that was put on a Wii disc and Shakedown Hawaii. Those independent,
oh, that's right. Those were put on Wii discs.
That's like aftermarket. Would that make a guidebook? I guess it would, but I would cut it off.
Game on the system.
There was Let's Sing 2018. So Let's Sing went out up to 2018. It was 2019 title, but went up to 2018. We'll just say the last non-singing dancing game was 2015, Barbie and Her Sister's Puppy Rescue. And there was one other game that year that was non-dancing or singing. It was Monster High New Ghoul in School. There you go. But basically the last real year of Wii games, we'll just say, was like 2014. Where you had about 12 different games. You had like Skylanders and you had FIFA 15. That's like the last official, we'll just say like multiple different types of game genres and casual games versus just singing and dancing games. So, all right, well, here's to the Wii. I'm going to just tell you something about that Wii Shop theme song. That's a banger.
Oh, it is. Everyone loves it.
I mean, it's incredible. It's not, you can listen to it for 30 minutes straight and it doesn't get annoying. Because sometimes you just go through and look at different games in the shop, Turbo games. And that's still my favorite Brental Floss song. The Brental Floss Wii Shop music video. Check it out. My friend Brental Floss. Ian, we got a Patreon.
Patreon.com/CU podcast. I do writing. You get a full video podcast. We do hangouts. You get a bonus podcast bits and tidbits.
Every week. This week,
snackaroos.
This week, I complain about the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer. I didn't comment on the fact that I hate the fact that they had to put wedge home into all three names for no freaking. Now it's going to be like the Home trilogy. But I rail for 15 minutes about that. Ian says about 12 words all segment.
Yeah.
Next time I'll do a counter. And we have this polls, right? In second place, are sealed game collectors being mistreated? 26%. Okay, I'm going to tell you something to the people voting. That doesn't mean we necessarily will say we agree with that assessment in the way you don't think it should be. It's a discussion of that, just to nudge you a little bit more. And in first place, hardest NES games ranked. This comes from Seth Abramson and his retro Substack. Nice enough to send Ian and me a subscription to this. So we're going to run through the hardest NES games. And just like we went through a couple of lists before from Seth, we went through his top consoles list ranked and also the worst NES games we went through.
That's right.
We're doing worse now. We went through the hardest ones.
No,
We're doing hardest now.
We're doing hardest now.
So he combines a bunch of different sources, websites, certain NES, Super Nintendo guidebooks, I think video sources. He combines them all together into, I guess, an algorithm to spit out these rankings, Ian. So you want to start with it?
So yeah, the first one is.
I can't believe you went to number one again. I can't believe you didn't go in a bottom order.
I don't know. They need to be listed differently then. All right. Well, the first one. It's not like people are going to care. We'll start with 20. The three that tie for 20.
Spoilers.
Who cares? The three that tie for 20: Friday the 13th, Kid Icarus, and Rygar. I've never really thought of Rygar as being that difficult.
It's hard.
I guess. I don't know why I've never really thought of that one as being like one of the biggest ones. Kid Icarus, definitely very difficult. And Friday the 13th, hard, but I mean more difficult because of the horrible map design.
But it's still hard, though.
Yeah.
Kid Icarus is hard on the surface because that first stage is hard. The vertical jumping is
all the stages are hard. There's so much vertical jumping. There's 3 levels of vertical jumping, but 3 levels of horizontal, then 3 more vertical jumping levels.
But as a kid, I couldn't get to the second stage in Kid Icarus as a kid. Whenever I play at a friend's house, I think Kevin had it. Damn you, Kevin. I never could get past that first stage, so it stayed unplayed. It just there was no difficulty balancing like learning curve to Kid Icarus. It was like it's just hard to start.
Sure.
You got short, stubby arrows. You got only a couple of hearts, right? Like a few hearts, and like that's it. And it's tough.
Gauntlet.
Gauntlet to me is,
I think that's more of an endurance test.
Yeah, it's not
hard because it's hard to sit there and actively get through all 100 levels. But I don't know if it's it's impossible.
There are some stages that will. Here's the thing: it's not unlimited continues, I believe, on the NES, right?
Probably not. No.
In the arcade, you can keep pumping quarters in. You can't, and to get more energy, you can't do that on the NES. I think did we try to play through it one time and we got to like stage like 60 or 70? Did we try that on a marathon one time? We obviously skipped through, but like we got through a chunk.
Yeah, we definitely did do.
I believe that
like that.
If you practice at Gauntlet, obviously to get the correct ending, you got to find all the secret shit, and that was like 8 secret things hanging around. You got to get whatever. I think if you practice at Gauntlet, though, I think it won't be. It should not be the top 20. I would not. I think that's a reputation thing, but you can play through the first 10, 15 minutes of Gauntlet and be fine.
Right.
You're not going to get your ass kicked like Friday the 13th.
Yeah, it's not going to immediately show itself as being very difficult.
Sure. What's next?
What do we got next? We've got Top Gun.
Top Gun gets a bad
18.
rep. It's not. Now, Top Gun is not the hardest thing you're ever going to play. It's not the easiest thing.
No.
It is hard to dodge the missiles if you're not used to the cadence of them coming at you. When they lock in from behind, you really do have to be specific on going left and right. People obviously get on Top Gun
for the landing.
The landing. This is what I'm going to say about the landing sequences. They're not simple. You do have to pay attention, but they are not impossible. And when I was 7, 8 years old, I did them 90%, 80, 90% of the time I do them.
Right.
It's not foolproof, but I think people they psych themselves out.
Yeah, absolutely.
They get psyched out. Obviously, AVGN's video might have helped with that. I think what makes that bad is the fact that you lose an entire life.
Sure.
If it was like you get to try it again, you know, like you get
I think that's
tries.
the thing is you don't get to. The reason I think it screws people is because you don't get to practice it.
Yes. Yeah.
If you miss it, you miss it, and you just move on to the next level.
Yeah. Yeah. That's probably it. And then if that's the only time you die, you won't make it to the third level, because in the second stage you also have to do the refueling thing, which counts as a life as well. You crash.
Yeah. If you couldn't proceed from the first level to the second level until you aced it, everyone would be landing that plane no problem.
Sure. Ninja Gaiden 3 is freaking tough because there's limited continues. Even if there wasn't, it's still tough. But the fact that they put limited continues on that third game, at least for North America.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's one of those weird games
that's unreasonable.
People always say that games get simplified when they come to the US. No, some games get cranked up in difficulty because they want it to They don't want you to be able to beat it in a rental period.
I was going to say that might have been more of a rental thing because the first game obviously came out a few years before. Maybe by that point, like, okay, bigger rental market, early 90s. They wanted to really lean into that, but that's bullshit. That game is tough.
Fester's Quest, on the other hand, is one of those games that's like the opposite of something like...
Skipped a few, Ian.
Oh, sorry. Castlevania was the other one.
Castlevania. It's a tough game.
Yep.
I would probably put it in the top 20.
Very hard.
Unforgiving jumps. If you don't have the right sub-weapons, the bosses can be insane. The Grim Reaper still gives me nightmares. The Grim Reaper is harder to me than I think Dracula.
Yeah.
So like that's a tough game. I gotta be like A+ gamer to get to Dracula. I gotta be on. Double Dragon 3, The Sacred Stones, another one where
I think that's one where they also wrenched up the difficulty when it was brought to the US.
Yeah. Yeah, the lack of continues. I think you get the one life, which is insane.
Each character gets one life.
It was just bad. It's not a bad game if they changed that and it was like, okay, we'll give you like 3-4 lives and you can continue. People would be like, okay.
Right. Blaster Master, same thing. It's a hard game, but made harder by the fact that there's limited continues. I think it's a 3 continue game.
I don't have a lot of experience with Blaster Master. I'll be honest. I really should play through that.
Tied for 12, Fester's Quest and Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse. Fester's Quest, going back to what I was saying, kind of the opposite of Gauntlet. Gauntlet, you know, you're fine early on, but it gets harder later on. Fester's Quest is not, I don't think, that hard of a game, but the initial moments in you start off so weak in Fester's Quest. You need to get some items. You need to get some health bonuses. Once you get going in Fester's Quest, it's really not that bad. But yeah, the game requires some grinding like immediately after you start.
Do you say is Castlevania 3 that's listed as harder than Castlevania? I find that hard to believe.
I think most people would tell you that.
It is harder?
Yes. Yeah, okay. Castlevania 3 is...
Even with the ability to play as different characters? And
Castlevania 3 is absurdly hard, and again, I think one that was increased in difficulty
they did increase that one?
When they brought it over here.
Super Mario 2, The Lost Levels.
It's just a fucking cheaters game.
It's not technically an NES game, but we'll let it pass.
Sure.
It's Famicom, but...
it's a cheaters game.
It's a cheaters game? What do you mean?
It's not.
I've beaten it.
It's kind of fun and interesting, and let's see how they could break Mario. But there's a reason it never came over here. That game is just Nintendo laughing in your face. It takes everything you think you know about the first Mario, and
I beat the Super Nintendo
wind
version.
that blows you away when you think you're going to make the jump. Poison mushrooms. It's just it's a mean game.
Yeah, it's trial and error, which a Mario game should not be.
Yeah, it's a lot of trial and error.
It's Mega Man Mario. There you go. I hate trial and error where you have to die to learn the game, and I hate that.
Adventures of Bayou Billy.
Yes,
very hard.
Another one I think that people said the Japanese version is easier. Well, like I think that they increased the difficulty of the average thug villain.
Yeah,
and it's like why they're already tough, and they don't. The problem with Bayou Billy, there's 2 problems to it. When you hit a guy, he doesn't like go backwards. He'll like stay there and just pause and go invisible for a second. You don't know how much damage you're actually doing to the enemies. First off, it's harder to tell. Like in Double Dragon, you hit a guy down twice, he's probably dead. Maybe 3 times. You're like it's hard to tell. You just keep pounding the guy. They don't go down. There's no reprieve from that. And then when you punch, like you might as well not even punch in the game. You might as well not even punch. You might as well just try to do a kick every now and then and just do the jump kicks or get the weapons. It's so unbalanced. If the fighting in Bayou Billy was as polished as, we'll just say, Double Dragon NES, it would be potentially a top 10 NES game.
Sure.
Because like it has the zapper stuff is fine. The racing is interesting, but the core of the game is just broken. But it's a polished game otherwise. The sound is great. The graphics are nice. The story, the cutscenes, it
just doesn't play well.
Number 7, tied. Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. What are you thinking? You love The Adventure of Link.
Very difficult game. Lots of grinding needed to get through that last palace. Yeah, it's hard. It's just a very difficult game. The 2D fighting can be very difficult when you're going up against the dreadnoughts and stuff like that. Yeah, it's a tough one, but I think a lot of people can get through it with grinding. You really got to grind out those extra lives.
I don't think it would make my top 10 or maybe even top 20. I think that's not as tough as Bayou Billy. I don't think it's as tough as Castlevania. I think it's like you obviously get used to the combat. The more you get into it, you get stronger. it's not an easy game, no, but I would not put that.
I would say all three of these number 7s, Contra, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, and Zelda 2 are awfully high up for games that are definitely difficult, but I think they're more known because of their popularity. I don't know that I would list any of them as most difficult.
Punch-Out is difficult if you are not a twitchy gamer. It's not for you because once you get to like Mr. Sandman or even Soda Popinski, it notches to like a higher level of difficulty. It lasts 3-4 boxers. Super Macho Man, to this day, I don't think I can beat him without getting knocked out at least once. Mike Tyson is legitimately one of the hardest game bosses. And unless you like have, I mean, less than 0.2 of a second you have to react to those uppercuts. Like it is, you have to be a twitchy gamer. Contra, I'm really good at it, so that's why I'm always surprised when I see that.
I'm not good. I've said this before, I think, in a different, remotely similar topic, but I'm not good at video games, and I can beat Contra without using the continues or without using the code.
Without the codes, you have to continue. Okay.
Yeah, I've done it in 4 lives.
I think that's God. When that comes up, I just wonder why. Maybe because people went to the 30 life code and just didn't try to get good at it.
I think that's exactly it.
Yeah.
When you have the 30 life code, you don't try. You just run.
You just run through it.
But if you play lives. When you start playing it without the code, you take your time a little bit and you realize that it's pattern recognition.
It's not an easy game. I'm not saying that, but I wouldn't put it in my top 20.
No.
Mega Man.
Yeah, especially the first one, very difficult. Gutsman stage, awful.
Silver Surfer. This is a reputation thing. It is hard. I wouldn't put it number 5.
I would, but it's one of those games where, like, again, if you pay enough attention to it, like Contra, you can do it. The big problem with Silver Surfer is the hitboxes are way too big for the Silver Surfer.
If they modified the hitbox,
it could have been it's not a great game. It's a beatable game. It could have been a good game if the hitboxes were more manageable.
I think I gave it an above average rating. I think it's an above average game. If it was more fair in the difficulty and had better power ups, it would be a legitimately probably very good game.
TMNT.
This one I go back and forth on. This is why.
There's a lot of unavoidable shit in the later half of that game.
Funny you say that. This is a coincidence. I found randomly, I'm going to give the person credit, I found a no-hit run of this game.
Holy shit.
On legitimate hardware.
That's insane.
No hit Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle NES. I got to find it because I just saw it. No damage.
That's absolutely insane.
And oh God, I'll link it when I find it if I can't find it. I literally saw this a few days ago. Here's the key to this game that as a kid I didn't recognize. The key to this game, you have to stock up on the scrolls. When you stock up on the scrolls, it's a much easier game. Not saying it's easy. It's far easier. When I was a kid, little Pat would get to the Technodrome and get his ass kicked.
Right.
If you got the scrolls, there's a lot less of, like you said, parts where you won't get you're going to take damage because the scrolls are like one hit deaths to most of the enemies.
Gotcha.
You can knock them out. So you get the scrolls, I think, in like the second or third stage. You can keep going back in the room, going up and getting them.
Yeah. So
get the scrolls for all 4 turtles. That gives you like 140 scrolls. You can get through the Technodrome. Like you can get through a part of that. I remember, never forget, I got to Shredder as a kid and lost, and my heart shattered.
Oh, yeah.
Because just to get to Shredder was like, holy shit. I don't know if even Shredder was that hard, but I must have been, my little thick but quick Pat's heart was probably beating so much. And that was it. And you only get 4 lives. Yeah, you can rescue your turtle once or twice. You get 4 lives. No continues.
It's not easy.
In Turtles there. Ninja Gaiden. Yes.
Truly difficult.
Difficult because of the respawning enemies. You get rid of the respawning enemies, I think it's a much easier game. And of course, there's that glitch. And the glitch, whatever, they didn't patch it out or patch where if you die at the final boss, you go all the way back to whatever it is 4-1 or whatever. You get to go, and that's what kills your soul. 6-1, I think. That's what kills your soul. It's like you're not even starting me at like 6 whatever 6-3, 6-4. That's what's so hard because the fucking flying ninjas throwing the stars is the worst part, like the worst part of the game. And for certain sections of that game, unless you have the jump and slash attack, unless you have that, you better be, a top tier expert at this game in order to get through it and have a chance, especially with the hits off the balconies and ledges. And number 2, Ghosts and Goblins. Yeah, It's a tough game. Yep. Oh yeah.
I've beaten it once, but I've never done 2 laps. Never done the 2 laps to get the official ending.
I am proud of myself when we play on the NES Marathon. When I get to the 3rd stage, I'm like, I'm playing top tier. I can get to the 3rd stage, but that's it. Like, it's a tough game. And number 1, Ian?
Battletoads.
No drum roll?
No Battletoads.
Battletoads.
No drum roll. Battletoads.
Do you agree with that assessment?
It's a piece of shit game. Yeah.
I wonder if it's...
Because the turbo tunnel is very difficult, but that's not the only level in the game that makes that game so hard. The elevator level
the
snake is doable, but the elevator level and the final level, the tower is...
So I never played that.
Is horseshit. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, if you haven't played all of Battletoads, skipped the levels and played it, a lot of people think, well, if you can just get past the turbo tunnel, you're fine. But no, it's constantly throwing bullshit at you.
The problem with Battletoads, again, you play these like experimental gameplay types. You don't get used to... It doesn't give you a chance to get good at any of them before you have to use those skills. They throw you into the turbo tunnel and like, okay, you can handle this. And what? That could be the end stage of some games. It literally could be. That's how tough it is. I couldn't beat that when I was a kid. Now somehow my reflexes got better at some of these games. I can beat it now regularly. The same thing with Mike Tyson. As a kid, though, when you're 9, 10, I couldn't do it. I couldn't. Or 11. I couldn't do it when I was 10. Great. Good for you. Most kids couldn't. And you cannot design a game that kills you within 15 minutes dead or you can't get past it. And there's the other, the rat stage. There's all these stages that just fuck with you.
That's why I hate it too. You play the first stage and you're like, there could be a competent beat 'em up here with some interesting animation and shit like that. And then they revisit that like twice. It's a mess.
You know what? I like your Rare overall, but do you have to just like show off how cool you are? You got to show off how cool you are. Come on, you love Snake Round and Roll. You gotta love Snake Round and Roll.
I like how it looks.
We had fun playing that 2 players in the marathon.
That's all right.
So there you go. I agree with like most of these in the top 20, but there's definitely a few like Contra I wouldn't place in here. I would not place Top Gun in here for sure.
I don't.
And Gauntlet for sure should not.
I could see Contra being in the top 25, but it's not a top 10, and it's not as bad. If I can do it, you can do it.
The problem with these lists, though, is that they're going off of the more popular games. Like, for example, the stuff that didn't make the top 20.
It's based on articles, so it's always going to have a more popular bet.
Like Bionic Commando, I put above Contra for sure. For sure, Bionic Commando is a tougher
Commando
game.
Is very difficult.
That's a much tougher game. Dare I say underrated, 4.5 stars according to a certain NES guidebook. That's a much tougher game. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is a much tougher game than Silver Surfer, for example.
Sure.
Simpsons, Bart vs. Space Mutants is a much tougher game than Rygar. Paperboy? No. Paperboy's tough.
Very difficult.
Okay, I just like Paperboy then. All right, is that we're good on that? Thank you.
Good.
Thank you, Seth. Check out Seth's work. Seth Averson. We got some voicemails, don't we, Ian?
We do. You want to tell the folks at home how they can leave a voicemail?
You go to anchor.fm/the podcast. Ian's not going to pretend to know. First one.
Hi, I'm from Bavaria, and thank you for your great work with the podcast. Keep it up. Do you have any opinion about the multi-system from Retro Man Cave? It's a better solution than the Amico, so check it out. See ya.
I don't.
What was it? I missed
the multi-system from Retro Man Cave.
No, is that a thing?
I guess. I haven't seen it, though. I'll have to look into it.
Since you're in Bavaria, I'll just ask you this question. You bring up the Amico.
Yeah.
How do you feel that your tax dollars are literally keeping this console semi-afloat because your Bavarian tax dollars are going towards games like skiing and cornhole, and I think biplanes, and I think Astro Smash. There's like several games. Your tax money in Bavaria is being used for that. Sir, how do you feel about that? Okay, next one.
Hey, Pat and Ian. James from Georgia here. I was helping a realtor friend clear out a house, and I was able to find the Donkey Kong and Pac-Man Coleco tabletop arcade toys.
Nice.
I was wondering, what are some of the coolest things you guys have found in the most unexpected locations? Love the podcast. Stay beautiful, you guys.
Guess not counting a flea market, obviously. Thrift store, Jersey, found the boxed Rob. I was shocked to find that. That was like, though, it was like before this all blew up. That was like 2004, though. I probably spent like $10 on that. That was weird. That was the only video game item in the store. It wasn't a thrift store. It was like an antique store.
Gotcha.
In New Jersey, off the water somewhere. I can't remember the name of the town. What about you?
I can't think of anything.
No, you've never found anything like even
Crazy.
Hell,
Yeah.
I'll even in your garage. How about garage sale? You found something cool? No.
I mean, the thing I always get back to is my World of Nintendo sign was but that was flea market.
Yeah, it doesn't count.
Yeah,
You expect to find cool shit at flea markets. Next one.
Hey, this is a question for Pat. I'm just wondering, Pat, why do you hate Crash Bandicoot so much? I mean, you forgave Sonic for that Nintendo stuff, but why can't you forgive Crash Bandicoot? He did nothing wrong.
Oh, it's turning into shtick.
It was the 90s. He did nothing wrong. He's a good guy.
Okay. Sure, it's partially an act. I don't really give a shit about it, but it makes the show fun.
Hey, this is Gage from New Mexico.
Hi, Gage.
So, do you think, like, maybe 10, 15, 20 years, all these niche consoles like the Amico, the Atari VCS, Polymega, maybe even like the Ouya will have a collector's market?
No.
Kind of similar to, say, like the CDI or 3DO or any of those other kind of consoles that failed here in the States? Do you expect people to actually start kind of wanting to collect these kind of oddball consoles that come out nowadays?
I actually looked up Gizmondo. I'm looking up trying to see if there's Gizmondo stuff that actually existed back in the day. Oh, Gizmondo came out. I see the games online. The problem is this: if it was a failure to begin with, you need people to get nostalgic about it in order to buy it again. Otherwise, it has to be so fucking out there and weird to have like a crossover, like the Apple Pippin. It's Apple, right? So that's like a crossover fan base.
But there still isn't many people who do anything there.
I bring up the Hyperscan. The Hyperscan's only sold between 10 and 20,000, and nobody wants. I can get a Hyperscan with 3 games, and the box is $80. No, there's no bids on it. No bids, and that didn't sell any.
Right.
It's tough.
People have to want this stuff. It's not going to just magically become a collectible because there's not a lot of it. If people don't care, people don't care.
I liken it to all the Pong clones. A lot of those Pong clones, they probably never sold like 25,000 of those. But
a lot of them, there's very few that are worth anything.
No, I got a bunch of cool ones that you don't see. I think I found one I never saw before at one of the conventions I just went to. Oh, that looks like a cool one. It probably made it in the Northeast. I saw it at Retro World Expo in Connecticut. Doesn't mean that's going to be, no one else is going to want it. You know, it doesn't mean it. Let's say next.
Pat, Ian, love your Intellivision coverage.
This is Leland.
What the fuck?
From the Lelanders, calling all the way from Canada.
Do you guys ever worry Amico could sell better than the Switch and you missed a prime investment opportunity and Tommy will end up getting the last laugh? YouTubers also mocked the Switch hardcore after its first trailer. They launched with rock, paper, scissors, for God's sakes. Thanks so much. You have the best podcast on YouTube.
Some people mocked the Switch, but a lot of people were bullish on it. I was bullish. Ian was bullish. I think there were fanboys of other systems, like Sony. There was a famous Sony fanboy that said the Switch would fail.
I think there were people who were normally friendly to Nintendo that I think said it was going to fail too. I think there was a brief moment in time there where it was, and it always happens, but it was real hot to trot out the fucking Nintendo
the articles,
dead stuff.
That's when you were ill. I went off on a couple of people. That guy from the Atlantic, his name was Ian. All like the worst takes ever. And they continued afterwards. I think people wanted to. They didn't like the Wii. A lot of these people. They didn't like the Wii. Right. It was motion controls is an affront to my persona. They saw the Wii U fail, and were like, "Well, that's evidence Nintendo doesn't know what they're doing anymore. Look at the Wii U." And they said, "Well, naturally, then the Switch is going to be too experimental. It's going to still have motion controls." And they forgot that the fact that it was also a handheld was going to save Nintendo no matter what, which we pointed out. I said, "This is going to be the 3DS replacement. So at the very least, you're going to get the 3DS people to buy it no matter what." And it has. Right. You're never going to have a breakout ever again. Probably. It's always going to be a hybrid. They established the formula there. Next. What was with that Leland sound?
This is a question for Ian. If you could remove one of Pat's soundboard effects forever, what would it be and why? Also, have you heard of 100 Gex, and if so, what are your thoughts?
What was the last
part?
What was the last question? Sorry.
I don't know.
Also, have you heard of 100 Gex, and if so, what are your thoughts?
Yes, I have. I don't know. It's an artist that I keep saying I should probably listen to at some point.
Pat Ian, fuck you.
I would get rid of Big because it gets overused.
Big news.
And you'll probably notice that I haven't said it since it ended up on the soundboard. Because what's the point?
I didn't make those ones, by the way. That's why I say that Ian.
Oh, please. I mean, take a freaking joke, people. Like, seriously. Take a joke.
Take a joke, Ian.
Take a joke.
Take a joke. I don't use... Oh, I forgot to use this one during the Amico segment. I don't use that one enough. That could be the Amico one. Next one here.
Hey, Pat and Ian, this is Jeremy, a.k.a. JB Huskers. Long-time fan of you guys. Love interacting with you guys on the Twitter, talking about all sorts of games like Mr. Driller with Ian. But I decided I had a very interesting question here for you guys, so I decided to hop on to Anchor for the first time. This one's for Ian. Now that you no longer work for Luna, do you expect to kind of keep up with the trends with the employees there in the future, with what sells and what's not going to sell, just to kind of keep up with what's going on in that industry? Or do you expect to just be completely away from it now that you no longer work there? Thanks, guys.
I mean, I actually talked about that when I left Luna, that one of the first things that I was going to lose was kind of my fingers on the pulse of what's happening. And I've been to Luna twice since I left. I'll probably go again, maybe before I leave to go home in December, just to see what they've got. But yeah, I mean, I will try to keep up on it. But as much as I liked having that knowledge, it's also interesting just not having to pay attention to it.
Oh yeah, I don't pay attention nearly as much anymore. People ask me what the prices on stuff, and I'm like, I don't know anymore. I don't.
And I'm quickly losing that, especially because how crazy the market had gotten, how much it was fluctuating. I would not feel if you asked me to price out a buyback, like if you right now you brought me a box of stuff and said, what can you give me for it? I would not have that confidence to be able to go through it and tell you I can give you this and it would be fair.
I was shocked at the prices.
Even just months.
I was shocked. I was shocked at the 3 conventions. I was like, I couldn't believe the inflation on this stuff.
Sure.
All right, next one. Okay, this one is going to be Ian's choice whether or not this stays in the podcast, because I put down skip/semi-humorous, and I don't remember what this was. So Ian's going to decide if this is going to stay into the final cut.
Hey, I was just playing 1943 arcade style with a new twist. It has this rewind feature, where you screw up in the game and then you rewind it. Just like they got in the SNES Classic and all that. And I'm sure you've seen those features before. But, what if there was like a fast forward feature? Then the game would be over. Okay, bye.
Does that stay in the podcast, Ian?
Yeah, it can stay in the podcast. There are definitely like fast forward features or something that I would actually like to see in certain games.
If you suffered that, didn't like it, it's because of Ian. If you enjoyed it, it's also because of Ian. Next.
Hey, Pat. Hey, Ian.
Hi.
It's Zach in Ottawa calling.
Ottawa.
I was just wondering, actually, Ian in particular, now that you're done working at a game store, do you think you might actually get back into game collecting?
No. Seems unlikely. I have no interest in really acquiring more stuff. At least not until I'm in a larger... And even if I was in Vonnie and I might start looking into
Castle Ferguson?
Things like houses next year. Even with a house, I just don't want that much stuff. It was a switch in my brain that turned off sometime like between the past 5 and 10 years, and I'm happy it did, because I used to love accumulating stuff, and now I really don't ever want to accumulate stuff. I'm happy buying my records. That is the collection that I allow myself to have, that expands and has no real end cap. I will still buy Game Boy games that I see that I want, but I'm honestly getting to the point where there's just not many of them anymore I want, just some very expensive ones. And PC Engine games, same thing. I'll keep buying those, but that collection's just not going to get a whole lot bigger. But no, I don't really. I buy Switch stuff physical, and I've got to be honest with you, the next Nintendo system.
No physical.
No, I'm just gonna fucking go digital again.
See those little cards you don't want?
I like them, but it's just like,
well, you come face to face with it when you move, because I did it when I moved, and that was a horror show. Because you literally have to look in the eye every single thing you own. You got to be like, oh, look at all the stuff I own. I can't believe I own that. I can't believe I have 15 different Pong clones and things like that. Which I think I did at the time. I sold some at SoCal, I believe. All right, do a few more here.
Hey guys, this is Morgan from Texas. Quick question. What do you think would have happened to the video game industry if Mario would have been released through Sega instead of Nintendo? Thanks. Long-time listener, first-time messenger.
They would have somehow bungled it like they've done with like half the Sonics.
Shut up. Yeah, I mean, that's a weird hypothetical, but I mean, without that, if Mario was it, Mario's huge, and Mario would be as popular as it ever was because it's a great game. But I don't think they ever would have had they would not have built up the support from additional titles that they needed to get as big as Nintendo.
You got time for 2 more or just 1 more?
Let's just do 1 more.
Just 1 more?
Yeah.
We're going to check in with someone?
Yeah.
Now, why did everybody have to go and kill my battle tanks boner? I was all proud of myself, and then I see all these people saying, Tommy stole these assets from 2 other tank games. Yeah, so what? What are you, the asset police? I'm reading all this while I'm out at Hooters with Miyamoto-san, and I'm like, hey, how come nobody ever gave you this kind of shit for ripping off Doki Doki Panic? And he was like, because that was me ripping off myself, bro. And I'm like, oh, see, this is why you're a genius. But never mind that. You heard about that hater who came up to Boston this weekend to try the Amico, and now he's a big fan? Yeah, he even made this apology video on YouTube. It was just text because he didn't want to identify himself. And I don't blame him. You don't want that out there if you're applying for a job and people are looking you up and seeing that you were an Amico hater. They'll throw your resume right in the garbage. But you used the wrong music. I wish you would have used that Chicago song. It's hard for me to say I'm sorry. I just want you to know.
Well, Tommy's in a better mood this week than last week. He's singing Chicago. I guess great success in Boston. Real quick, there was a throwaway joke about pizza last week that people ran with. People were making videos about, well, the pizza at the event wasn't Domino's, and I'm like, look at this. And
You're going to obsess that much over a throwaway joke?
I'm just like, wow. They really have to hang on every fucking word we say.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. Like, they really have to listen to every single thing that comes out of our mouths every week.
It gets pretty crazy.
How does that feel being you? Where you feel you have to do that? And not just that, try to rationalize responses about pizza. My God. Woo. It's a funny world out there. Ian.
It is. It is. I wonder what Tommy's got in store for us this week.
Yeah, it seems like I thought we'd get a week of respite, and it kept going.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for the podcast, Ian.
It was a good one.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Gotta grab your lift.
See you next week.
See you next week. Bye. Oh, real quick, while Ian gets away, if you want to listen to me rail about Spider-Man No Way Home, the trailer at least, go to patreon.com/cupodcast. Bye.